We just received the stats for February, and in Burlington, the average price is down 21% year over year. However, when you look at month over month, it's telling a completely different story. So in this video, we are going to look at the Burlington stats for February, and we're going to look at both year over year as well as month over month. And I think it's important to look at both so you can see where we've come from in the last year and where the market is today and where it's actually going. So if you get any value out of this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel to stay up to date on all things real estate. So we're going to jump right into the numbers here, and we're going to look at year over year first. And these are pretty extreme numbers because last February was basically the peak of the market. And since then, prices, sales, and listings have basically fallen off. So a lot of these numbers and change that you see here are going to be some of the things that you're seeing in the headlines over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to take a look at Burlington's year over year key metrics here. So first, looking at sales, we had 168 sales in February. That was down 37% from last year. We had 246 new listings, and that's down about 31% compared to last year. And then interestingly, we have more active listings pretty significantly compared to last year. And that's partially because the absorption rate is a lot lower. You can see there's less sales happening on a monthly basis compared to new listings. There's also a lot of listings that have been sitting on the market for long periods of time. And then the big one here, average price. So this isn't a specific property type. This is just a composite number for average price in Burlington. But still, you can see this is down 21% from last February. And again, last February was the peak of pricing. And then we had all of the rate increases. So we've heard a lot about this, but it's interesting now to see that we have the February numbers exactly where we land now compared to a year ago. And lastly, something I always like to look at here is months of inventory. So you can see in the bottom right a little legend on what these numbers actually mean, but they tell us what type of market we're in. So last February, we had half a month of inventory, which is just insane. It's a really strong seller's market. We were seeing lots of competition, really high levels of demand, and low levels of inventory. And although it might seem like we're in more of a balanced market per se right now, statistically, we have 1.8 months of inventory, let's call it. So we are still in a seller's market, and we're definitely feeling that on a day-to-day basis right now. We're starting to see multiple offers on detached homes. They're not getting the crazy prices like they were with half a month of inventory, but there still is a lack of supply for the specific levels of demand that we have in the city. So next, we're looking at the month over month numbers. And you can see right away, these numbers are painting a completely different story than the year over year numbers. And as someone that works in the real estate market in Burlington and surrounding areas, this is something that we are feeling on a daily basis start to pick up. We're seeing a lot more sales and more demand in the market, and we're actually seeing multiple offers again on properties. And a lot of it's because we have increasing supply, but we don't have enough supply for the levels of demand that we're experiencing in the market. So we still have low months of inventory, and that's why we're starting to see prices tick back up a little bit. So looking at the numbers specifically here, sales increased 50% from January to February. Again, this is pretty standard as we move into the spring months here, but still a 50% increase month over month is pretty extreme. New listings up only 2%. So again, when you have 50% more homes selling or kind of demand in the market, but your new listings don't really change, and again, your active listings are sitting at 5%, you're going to have things like competition because there's a certain amount of buyers out there and there's only so many homes that they can pick from right now. And now average price, this is something we haven't seen in the last 12 months, and that's prices increasing month over month. To this extent, at least. We've seen the 1%, which I would call basically level, but average price from January to February was up 4%. And you can see months of inventory was actually down. So based on this scale here, we moved from more of a balanced market into more of a seller's market. And again, this is basically because we have more demand, more sales happening, and the inventory is just not matching those levels of sales. Now we're going to move along and look at pricing for the different property types. So detached townhomes and condos, again, year over year, and then month over month. So similar numbers to we saw for average price. Detached homes were down 22% from last February to this February. Townhomes down 19%. And condos down 15%. Now, this is pretty reflective of the increases we saw during the pandemic, especially when everyone was locked up in their homes. We saw, detached homes or townhomes, things with more space and a yard, increase faster and more than things like condos. And finally, we're looking at the month over month change for the property types. So this is something we have not seen in about 12 months, which is detached homes up 6% from January to February, townhomes up 3% from January to February, and condos out there on their own, they're down 2%. But these are the numbers that are interesting here. And I don't think these are a one-off from January to February. For the levels of activity that we're seeing in the market on a daily basis as we move into the spring market, which we all know is typically a busier time of year for the real estate market, I think we're going to continue to see numbers like this for a number of months to come. So all in all, it's interesting to see there's two completely different sides of this. I think it's interesting to see that we're obviously in a very different market today than we were a year ago. And although we've seen basically 12 months of declining prices and sales levels and listings, we're starting to see things start to pick up again. And again, as someone that's in this day to day, we are really noticing the levels of activity start to pick up. Like I mentioned, we're seeing multiple offers on properties, and I don't think that's going to slow down as we move into the spring market. So if you're interested in receiving this information or these slides, or if you'd like to know this information for your specific neighborhood, let us know and we can definitely help you out. That's it for this video. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.